بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على سيد الرسل وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله الأزكياء وأصحابه الأتقياء أما بعد. Sometimes when you read the Quran and you see the promises that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes, they give you strength, they make you feel confident, they make you feel good. But then what ends up happening is that you turn to the real world and it seems as if those promises of Allah are not true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you believe, I will help you. Then you look across the world and you find that those people who believe in Allah seem to be the most disgraced of Allah's creation, treated with less value than people would even treat their cats and dogs. You find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making so many promises. The Quran tells us, do this, you will have honor. Be modest, you'll have honor. Preserve yourself, you'll have honor. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling the companions, do sajda and worship Allah, Allah will elevate you. But then you look around and you see the people who aren't doing sajda, the people who aren't worshipping Allah, they're so famous. They have so much wealth. They have so much supposed honor. And it makes you think twice that what I'm doing, is it really even worth it? And this becomes more of an issue when you aren't confident in your own faith to start with. You have young folks that are going to school and they don't find confidence in themselves. Their Islam, their religion, what they're practicing doesn't offer a solution to them. And sometimes the scale of what's right and wrong can become a little murky. You're not sure what to trust anymore. What you're told is right isn't working, supposedly, and what you're told is wrong seems to be working very well. You're telling someone, stay away from doing haram business, it's not good for you. But that person says, I do haram business, I make money. You want me to do business your halal way, without selling liquor, without selling, lotto, without selling the lottery, without selling the haram products that people sell in their stores. If you want me to do business that way, I'm not going to have any money. So what do I do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing this issue of truth and falsehood, He shares with us a very beautiful example and a very beautiful parable. However, before I share this example, I want to share one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and this is an important narration, in particular for those of us who look at some of the movie stars of the world, some of the sports people of the world. We look at some musicians in the world. We see all of the honor, all of the fame, all of the wealth they have. And you begin to envy them. That, man, I'd like a body like that. I'd like a voice like that. I'd like honor like that. I want to be like that person. Some of us may find that laughable. But for majority of the world, guess what? That's what works. That's why companies pay these people millions of dollars to wear their product. Because they know these people are influencers. What they do impacts the life of people and will translate into a dollar. It'll translate into money. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us a very beautiful hadith. And I think this hadith for me really gave me guidance on this particular issue. On misplacing fame or misunderstanding what honor actually is. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves a person, when there is a servant, when there is a creation, a male or female that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Nada Jibreel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls out to Jibreel alayhi salam. And He says, Inni uhibbu falanan fa'ahibbahu. I love so and so, so you should love that person too. Jibreel alayhi salam then, he calls out to the people of the heavens, the angels, and says to them, Allah loves so and so person, I love so and so person, so you should all love this person as well. And then from there, that love descends from the heavens onto the hearts of the righteous and pious people. There may be few people who love that person, but the people who love that person are people of quality. They're not the scum of the earth. When you see that there are pious people in the community who love an individual, that tells you that that love is actually stringed back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's connected back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for the scum of the earth, the people who walk around naked, the people who have no honor, no modesty at all, who outright do kufr and shirk, who promote immorality, who promote corruption, who promote people to do evil things and crimes, these people, they may have fame, but that fame starts from the ground upwards. It starts from the shayateen. It starts from the shaitan. Shaitan loves this person. He then tells his cronies, his shaitans, that I love that person, so give this guy extra attention. And then from there, that love enters into the shayateen, the hearts of the shayateen of the human beings. And the evil people start loving this person. And they start promoting this person. And they push this person's love on the hearts of the average people. So just because you see something being prominent, something being famous, something being big, don't buy into it. Don't think that that's right. Sometimes an oppressor will be doing something wrong. It doesn't make that oppressor God. He is getting away with what he's doing because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a big punishment waiting for this person. Now keep this context in your mind, and we look at verse number 17 of Surah Ar-Ra'd, a very powerful example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَسَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ بِقَدَرِهَا فَاحْتَمَلَ السَّيْلُ زَبَدًا رَابِيًا وَمِمَّا يُوقِدُونَ عَلَيْهِ فِي النَّارِ ابْتِغَاءَ حِلْيَةٍ أَوْ مَتَاعٍ زَبَدٌ مِثْلُهُ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ وَالْبَاطِلَ فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives two examples. The first example has to do with water. And the second example has to do with fire. And if you go back to Surah Baqarah, when we covered the examples there, I told you that when Allah talks about the munafiqun, He gives an example of fire, then He gives an example of water. مَثَلُهُمْ كَمَثَلِ الَّذِي اسْتَوْقَدَ النَّارَ أَوْ كَصَيِّبٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ. So there were two examples that we gave. They were both side by side. And here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when talking about haqq and batil, He gives a mithal ma'i and He gives a mithal nari. He gives an example that's to do with water, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the very same verse, gives an example that's to do with fire. Now the example states that water descends from the heavens. Now valleys will carry that water depending on their breadth, their width. Some valleys are smaller, therefore they can carry less. Some valleys are wide, therefore they can carry more. Now what happens is that when the water falls down and it's gushing forward with thrust and it's pushing forward, there are two layers that come into existence. There's a lower layer, which consists of the pure water, and then there's the upper layer, which is where the froth and all the dirt actually is. All the dirt that water picks up as it's pushing along through the valley, through the ground, it picks all of that dirt up and the dirt comes up on top. Now someone that looks at this water, they may think the entire body is filthy and dirty. When they look at all the water, what are they going to think? The whole thing is filthy and dirty. Or someone may think that the valuable part of this body of water is the part that's on top. Just because it's on top, maybe it's right. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's valuable. Let's go to the part that's on top. What they'll miss out is the part that's underneath, where the real money actually is. Where the actual good actually is. The pure water is at the bottom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this is the example, أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاء. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says, water descending from the heaven, this is like the Quran descending from the heavens. As for the different valleys, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَسَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ بِقَدَرِهَا. Every valley carrying the water based on its ability. Some valleys are more narrow, some are wider. This is the heart. Some hearts have the ability to carry a lot of knowledge, while other hearts don't like knowledge at all. So there are different types of people when it comes to receiving this revelation. Now when this revelation comes into the hearts of mankind, there are those hearts that just seem to be on the top layer, that get all the fame, all the noise, that make, that get the headlines, and they're everywhere over the world. These are people who carry the filth. But underneath that filthy layer, you'll find people who are of substance. You'll find people whose hearts have actually found the Quran. They may not be famous. They may not have a social media following. Wallahi al-Azim, I have met men in my life who have no social media presence, but by Allah, they are probably the most valuable human beings to walk on the face of this earth. People who've dedicated their life to doing dhikr. No presence at all. Nobody knows them. They don't have millions of followers. We had the honor to sit at their feet and study with them. I remember many years back, I was in Hajj, and I saw the Sheikh sitting in the corner of Masjid al-Nabawi in the Prophet's Mosque. And he stood there and he prayed salah and prayed salah and prayed salah. And I was just observing him. I had no idea who he was. If you've been to the Prophet's Mosque, there are hundreds of thousands of people there. I mean, I had no idea who he was. And I just kept looking at this guy, and he kept praying and kept praying. And then I noticed when Maghrib time came, he did iftar. So I looked at this person, I didn't say anything. The next day I came and I looked at this guy again. I saw this man doing this with my own eyes for 6 years. Every year for Hajj I would come, I would go to that place, sit there, and I knew this guy was going to be there like clockwork. He would sit there, he would be reading his Quran, and then iftar time would come, he would break his fast. It was something that I look forward to seeing every year now in Medina Munawwarah. And there was one old khadim, one person that would be his servant, that would help him, assist him. He was an old man himself, and he would give the iftar to the shaykh. And one year I came, and the shaykh wasn't there. And that person that would help him was sitting by his side. So I went to him, and I said to him, what happened to that shaykh that was here? I used to come every year and look for this guy. He's not here today. So he said, Tuwuffiya Shaykh ibn Hajjar rahimahullah. The shaykh passed away rahimahullah. Otherwise, his whole life was spent in the corner of this masjid right here in Masjid al-Nabwi. There was another person in Masjid al-Nabwi that I saw. Every year, this person, and I mean this, I saw this with my eyes. For 19 years, I saw this person sitting in Masjid al-Nabwi, sitting in the same place, reading Quran. Maybe one of his relatives would push him in a wheelchair. I know exactly where he would push him. He was a resident of Medina Munawwarah. He would put him there. And every time I would walk past, he would be sitting there. He would have his gloves on. Maybe, I don't know why, he'd wear these mitten-like gloves, and he would touch the Quran, and he would sit there and read it and read it. And every time I would go for Hajj, I would tell my friends that were with me, go and say salam to that man. I don't know much about him. What I do know about that guy, though, is that I've seen him since I was a child, coming here, sitting here, reading the Quran. These are people who don't have any presence. مَجْهُولٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَعْرُوفٌ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Unknown to the people of the earth, but they are very well known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now in the second example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِمَّا يُوقِدُونَ فِي النَّارِ ابْتِغَاءَ حِلْيَةٍ أَوْ مَتَاعٍ زَبَدٌ مِثْلُهُ. It's a similar example. There's a person that has an ore, and he wants to derive the gold and silver, or the valuable metal from there. What does he do? He lights a fire. And why does he light that fire? He lights the fire so that the purity can fall down. And when he's lighting the fire and trying to extract that pure gold and silver, the froth comes up again. Someone may think the froth is what's valuable, but is that valuable or the gold and silver sitting at the bottom? What's valuable, guys?
Gold and silver.
It's the gold and silver at the bottom. The froth may make the noise, may have the movement, may have that, that presentation, but that's not the valuable thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً. All of this froth will leave. It'll spill away, someone will pick it up and throw it aside, because it has no value. وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. What will remain is what benefits people. False ideologies have come and gone. Celebrities have come and gone. Shayateen have come in many forms, and they've arrived and they left. But what remained was the Quran. What remained were the good servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What remained was Islam and Iman. And that's something you can never forget. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala closes off by saying, كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالِ. And similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presents parables and examples to you. So in summary, as we close off, always remember this. Because something has a shine to it, because it has a glamour to it, don't equate that to it being what's right and what should be done. Don't equate that as success. Understand that success may sometimes be at the bottom. What's best may sometimes be at the bottom. You have to be able to see that. You're young, you might think your friends are the right people to be listening to and ignoring your parents. But sometimes success is at the purity is at the bottom. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from people that are pure, make our hearts from valleys that are vast, that accommodate and preserve and retain the Quran. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala sayyidina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.